Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday, and it's good to see you in our Of Mice and Men class notes area. So today's video is going to talk about how we start a writing process when we're thinking about writing about a big piece of literature, something that's bigger than a short story, something that is, the phrase is multifaceted or has many different working parts. So I'm going to eventually have you guys do a long response in writing for this. It will have some sort of introduction, some body paragraphs, and a conclusion. But we're not going to start there because if we do that, then we're just going to worry about finishing. And my job here as your teacher is to teach you different ways to think of ideas and to think of situations that are unique and that are original and maybe even creative. So today's activity is almost like a stretching or warming up activity to help us get an idea of here are some things, or this is something that I could write about when I think about this beautiful little novella, deceptively simple novella of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. So here's my scary rabbit. Oh, is this my period 3? No, it says period 3, but let's fix that right now. Gosh. Get out of here, period 3. This is period 7. Okay. So what I did is I posted this slideshow and I imported it into my Notability. Okay. This is the amazing, aren't those amazing? This is my page that I did for chapter 1. Abby did this one for chapter 2. Anna added hers. Charlene. A couple of you haven't done it yet, but I know that you're going to do that today for sure. Okay, and you and your classmates, took this seriously, and everyone did a little bit differently, but the bones are there. We have about the same information on each of them. If you remember, I had you guys, make a little area for your chapter, the book's title and author and the date. In this area was supposed to be your plot notes, and I happened to draw some little pictures. I put some bigger ideas in these. And over here on this side was the big ideas that I found. And then I had some quotes. Okay, so that's kind of what we were doing. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reread my own notes, and then I'm going to read through Avy's notes and Anna's notes, and then Charlene's notes and Ashley's notes and Ava's notes and everyone's notes. Okay? And as I read, I'm going to have a purpose. I'm going to change this to blue. It stands out a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to read my classmates' notes, and I'm going to try to notice a repetition of ideas. Okay, and I'm going to look for 1 or 2, and 1 is totally fine, big ideas that seem to surface more than once. Okay, and so I'm not going to look at every single person's notes right now because that's your job. But I am going to model this by looking at the first few and see if I see an idea that comes up again. Okay, more than once, and see what I think about that big idea. Okay, so in here, if you remember, I wrote about chapter 1. I talked about how it's like this perfect idyllic setting. The natural setting was going to be important, and the story ends and begins in nature. Kind of interesting to think about. Then I wrote about the relationship. Lenny and George are opposites. They have a dream. They want some peace. And I'm going to see what Abby has to say. Abby wrote about Of Mice and Men. And he wrote, the boss gets suspicious of George, who might be trying to take advantage of Lenny. If you remember in chapter 2, that happens. He mentions that George doesn't get a good first impression from the boss because he talks for Lenny. This could relate to that conversation with the boss because in both situations, George takes responsibility for Lenny, right? And then when Curly's wife comes in and she's beautiful or, pretty of sorts, Lenny's distracted by her and Lenny even says, she's pretty. George says, don't go anywhere near her. Okay, so I remember that. I was reading through Anna's, and she's also talking about Slim and George and Lenny. Slim seemed to be a little more respectful than the rest of the men. This is that quote I was thinking about before. Will you keep away from her? She's a rat trap if I ever have one. I come up to Charlene's. She's also writing about chapter 2. The novel opens. There's a detailed setting and character. There's the bunks. Suspicious. Boss interviews George and Lenny. Significant introduction to appearances. And as I was reading, I got down to, this is Ava's, isn't it? Ava's. And then I saw something right here. Here it is. The boss gets suspicious. Now, I don't know if you all saw that, but here I see it one time someone wrote the word suspicious. Up here, Charlene also wrote the word suspicious. And look, it's here again. Now, these guys didn't do this on purpose. So what I'm noticing is that it's the idea of suspicion and suspiciousness, suspicion, it's clearly a big idea, right? These people, your classmates wrote about these chapters, and the idea of suspiciousness came up more than, it came up 3 times in 4, and even though Anna didn't use the word, okay, she hints at it here and here. Okay, all right, so what I've done, I want to remind you what I just did. I reread my classmates' notes. I didn't read all of them because that's what your job is. And I wrote down the idea suspicious on a Post-it. Now, if I read all of them, all of these pages, and I found 2 or 3 big ideas, I might write all of those down and then just pick one to write about. So here's what you're going to do next. You're going to write the idea that you pick on a Post-it. Okay, and I've put this at the bottom here, so it takes a little bit. Okay, I took a Post-it and I put it in a notebook page. Okay, I made a title here on my notebook page, writing about Of Mice and Men, and I underlined Of Mice and Men because it's the title of the novel. And I started my entry, my notebook entry, with this prompt. I could write about ... suspicion. And notice the word is could. I might do all this thinking about suspicion, and I might never write about it for real. But this is not, permanent. You write ideas down and that's all that you get. This is just, like I said, this is a warm-up. Okay, and I think this was on Charlene's note, but I can't remember, but that really doesn't matter where it came from. I thought this quote just kind of captured something as I was thinking about suspicion. There was a lot of suspicion in this book, and this quote just kind of rang true for me. Slim says this. He says, all right, but don't try to put nothing over because you can't get away with nothing. And I really thought about that. In this book, George and Lenny try to fool other people, and it kind of works, but then it doesn't work because the truth comes out. And even now, as I'm speaking to you right now, this thought just came into my head. I wonder if George has been trying to fool himself, or trying to put something over on himself that he could actually control Lenny or keep him safe, when we all see that there just was no way to keep a man like this safe, working the way that George was working. Okay, anyway, so I found that quote. I just thought that was cool to add in there. You could add a quote. You don't have to. And then I just did some free writing. I just did some thinking. I gave myself about 6 minutes. And I said, on your mark, set, go. And I just started writing. Whatever was in that brain of mine, I just dumped it on the page. Suspicion follows the characters in this novel until the suspicion is confirmed and no one gets away with anything, which is kind of what I just said to you. Number 1, Lenny has a hidden mouse. Do you remember this at the beginning? Lenny has a hidden mouse in his pocket, just a pet. George sees that he has it, and he takes it away from Lenny. And then he throws it across, like, the pond or something, and Lenny tries to act all cool and tries to get up, and he gets it, and he puts it back in his pocket, and George suspects him, and he knows it's there, and he takes it away for the final time. Same thing happens with the puppy in the bunkhouse. If you remember, Lenny took it away from the mom because he just wanted to snuggle with it in the bed, and they said, no, you have to bring it back. He can't be away from his mom. He's a brand new puppy. Okay, anyway, another time we saw suspicion. Slim, like your classmates noted, Slim is suspicious of Lenny and George's working relationship. Slim tries to get to the bottom of the situation, and he eventually sees for himself that Lenny possesses superhuman strength. But what he also sees is that Lenny really does have the mind of a child, right? That he really can't do anything without George. I also saw suspicion when Lenny visited Crooks, and Crooks was suspicious when Lenny came into the stable, and Crooks teases Lenny. Crooks threatens Lenny that George won't come back and will abandon him. Crooks changes his mind, though, once he realizes the truth about Lenny's disability. Like, as he was speaking with Lenny, he thought he was just another one of the men who come to work the ranch, and then he says, you don't understand anything I'm saying, do you? And, you know, Lenny's just kind of sitting there. All he wants to do is pet his dog, and he has no idea. And then I was thinking about number 4, you know, well, this isn't totally suspicion. This, I think, comes about as the men maybe knew. I don't even know what I'm thinking. But anyway, I wrote this. I read, the men all realized the extent of Lenny's problems when he kills Curly's wife, right? So in my mind, the suspicions were confirmed, and then the sad truth came out. So what I did just there is this was a thinking exercise. Okay, I read my classmates' notes. I found repetition. Okay, and then I created a notebook page with my title, with the post-it put in here, with the prompt, and I just jotted down some ideas that I had. If you were listening before, I said this is not, you know, a final draft of anything. This is just an idea generating strategy. We're just thinking, you know, even as you were listening to my video, I was saying to myself, I don't even know what I'm thinking. And that's fine. That's the stage of the writing process that we're in. We're just doing some exploring in our mind. Okay? So that's your job. I'd like you to also do this to, number 1, if you have not posted your notes, please do that so that everybody can, you know, benefit from your work and read your writing and see if they find some repetition. Once you do that, hopefully you've done that already, you can do the process I just showed you. You're going to write a notebook entry, take a picture of it, and you're going to upload it in the assignment that I'm posting, okay? And I'm going to post this for you. Can you see my daughter's and my dog's pictures? Okay, so this is your job. Look through class notes, find 1 or 2. Maybe you want to do that writing activity for 2 big ideas. It's totally up to you. Then write for about 5 to 8 minutes about different scenarios or moments that reflect this big idea. And then finally, take a picture and upload your notebook page. You really can't get this wrong. This is just thinking, observing, kind of like hunting for ideas that repeat, and doing a little writing. So good luck. If you have questions, let me know. Hopefully I've posted everything correctly and you'll be able to do this, all right? So I'll catch you guys soon, all right? Here, I'll end with a picture of Artie. That's my dog. Isn't she so cute? Oh my God, I can't take it. My daughter was taking pictures of her with a towel on. The bunkhouse. I think there's another picture of Artie. Okay, it's ridiculous. I gotta go. Good luck. Have fun. Talk to you guys soon.